Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the EA Creator Series WRC Club round number 5 as we head to a fictional track with real roads in Scandia this evening. And guess what? We got some more snow. What's more to like? My name is Jess Ball. I'm back once again with John Harris. Hello, John. Good to be back once again, and we should be in for some more exciting rally action.
Yes, indeed. Vast change of scenery here from the disastrous roads of Chile for many drivers. We go to another technical track now in Scandia, so in Norway, in real life, and with some very, very technical roads in the S2000 class. A very tricky car class to drive, a lot of grip, not a lot of power, and a huge amount of revs.
Yeah, I've seen the cars that the drivers are going to be racing at tonight. There's 3 choices of cars, and I'm interested to see what they have chosen tonight as well. I wonder if we've gone for something similar to last week, where a majority have gone for one class, but we'll have to wait and see. But let's look at the standings, first of all, to start with. The creator standings. Now, it is looking pretty close at the top, with Flembar having quite a decent showing last week. There were some stages where he struggled a little bit, but he picked himself up towards the end. But somehow, apart from the final stage, a certain Mr. John did very well last week in Chile as well. You did your stages straight after we went on air, and you're closing up to Flembar. How do you feel?
Well, I'm always known for being in P2 and never P1, so actually I feel quite at home right now. This is going to be one of the decider rallies, I think, because you can have a lot of difficulties, make a lot of mistakes, and get punctures and huge amounts of damage on the snowbanks. I was just looking off camera there at Punju doing a spectacular barrel roll during the shakedown, so hopefully he's managed to repair that damage before the actual start of the rally. It looks like they're getting ready to start already. But it's very, very close at the top of the standings, and there's such a huge amount of talent here that you can see on the leaderboards. So this leaderboard could change. There's still half of the rounds to go.
Yes, and obviously Kamikaze's home Grand Prix, he's looking to have a really good showing. He had a very good showing last week as well. But we've got Punju starting the rally as we speak, like he always is. And we got Dirt Chocolate back this week. He wasn't here last week. He had other things to do, but he's racing with us this week in the rallies as well. He's starting at the same time because I think he's got some important studying to do towards the end of this, so he's got to get going quite quickly. But as speaking of Dirk, as I just said about him, he almost had a moment there. But what could you tell me about this track which makes it a bit difficult compared to some other stages that you'll see in this calendar?
Well, I'd say there's 2 things, really. There's the blind crests, which you can see already catching the drivers out, where you can't really spot the braking zones or the apexes, and also the narrowness. If you can see the tracks right now here between Punju's and Dirt Chocolate's POVs, there are just so many snowbanks to hit, and it's so tricky to think about the rear of the car, because of course you sit towards the front of the car in these cars, so there's quite a bit of overhang, and because they're 4-wheel drive, you have to drive them on the limit sideways most of the time, and that can really put you into huge trouble. Now with the snowbanks, it's a little bit I wouldn't say randomness, but you can have one of 2 scenarios here, where luckily you drive over the snowbank, or sometimes you get stuck in or hit the snowbank quite hard, and punctures are very common here. So I hope that none of our drivers get punctures, or too many of them, put it that way.
I hope not either. We were so close to having a DNF last week, but luckily they were all managing to survive, which is always good news. But I think we had one driver that had, 3 punctures in one showing, but fingers crossed that we won't get as many, and they will choose the right tyres as well. We got 8 stages tonight. We got no 34-kilometre stage today, but that does mean we'll have more stages. The longest attempt kilometres, 13.8 kilometres. So that is how long the drive the creators will have to face tonight. This stage you're on now, it is clear. It's sunrise, and it is 7.5 kilometres. And a majority of creators and people that have joined the club, they've gone for the Opel Corsa S2000. So the top 5 you see in the RaceNet standings are in that as well. You can, of course, get involved until tomorrow at 8 AM. So if you are interested, sign up to the EA Creator Series Club on RaceNet. You should easily find it. It's under the partner clubs, and you still have time to get involved, and you can race at the same time along with these creators too. Right now, as currently leading stage 1 is a familiar face, Gretsch, leading by 0.3 of a second to Callaghan, a familiar face as well. 4:14 is the time to beat for if you want to be top of the RaceNet standings for stage 1, but it looks pretty tidy so far between Punju and Chartler. We got Blondie that's back this week as well, and we got a special guest as well for Dark Viper. His mum is actually doing one stage tonight. That is going to be interesting, along with his dog as well. I can't remember what his dog is called, but I'm excited to see his mum actually have a go, and that's lovely that he gets to be a small part of it. But Blondie, I believe, is just about to start her run, as Punju just had a massive flip.
Yeah, it's always tricky when you get towards the end of the stage there. You think you're safe, just like they were at Chile, always making mistakes at the end of the stage. There's been a few moments here for Punju and for Dirt Chocolate as Rift Blondie does get underway. I can see right there in the bottom right. And looks like Mum Viper is ready to go. There we go. We got the camera. Here we go. And Dark Viper has the drink ready to spectate there for one stage. This might be interesting. Rift Blondie already off with a huge crash. And I think that might be a DNF. It says recover till next day. No. Okay, we're good. That got me a bit scared there. But that might be a bit of damage there. At least 3 barrel rolls I saw there. So a lot of damage, and I think they're checking the car over just to make sure. Incredible stuff. And here we go. So a debutante here on the rally stages, and what a track to make a debut on. I couldn't think of anything more difficult, to be honest. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Honestly, calm and collected would probably be the best policy to take into these stages.
Yeah,
let's have a look.
Sorry.
Well, I'm just looking, and honestly, in amazement, to be honest, with the just a caution and sort of measured approach here. A lot of drivers, when they go into a rally stage, they go flat out and just crash and have a bad time. But this is honestly the approach you want to take. Well, I wasn't going to go that far, but fair enough. I think you've got to really just ease yourself into a rally game. It's so much more difficult than a racing game where you've only got 13 corners, you've got pace notes, you've got blind crests here, you've got so many things that are unfamiliar to you as a normal road driver. And the junction nearly missed there, but up the snowbank, nothing really going wrong for the moment. But this is honestly impressive. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is impressive, honestly. I'm quite impressed.
And sometimes it's better to take a caution approach on your first rally, because you'll be learning the track to start with, and then once you get more confident, then you can start really going flat out. So yeah, she's doing pretty decent, and I think she doesn't want to cause that much damage for her son when he does the remaining 7 stages a little bit later on. So that's probably another reason. But imagine it is also on a real rim as well, which is, well, a F1 wheel rim, which is hard to race on in Valley. I've had experience doing that, and on the launch weekend it was very tricky. So I do not envy her as well, but I think she's probably doing a lot better than I would have done on this stage. I think I probably would have gone by now. But Blondie on the right hand side as well is doing quite decent for her first rally back for quite a while so far. I need to actually move something so I can actually see that the time is going through. She's almost towards the end of her stage.
Yeah, apart from the little crash at the start, well, the monumental crash at the start, let's call it, the stage has been very, very committed. Rift Blondie is known for just pushing flat out and just trying to get the best performance possible. As we got our first time on the board there by Punju, 31st place, 17 seconds off.
That's good.
Which is not a bad time at all, really. He had a few moments up the snowbanks, but nothing too major. And I think Dirk Chocolate's already into stage 2 here. As we mentioned before, he's got other studies to do, so he has to quite literally speed run the event in literal sense of getting the fastest time through the stages, but also the fastest time between stages as well. So all of the speedrun strats coming into play tonight.
I'm trying to see if Punju has beaten Aero in that stage, and I think he has. So that was very impressive. That's a very impressive time for Punju as well. He's beaten Monkey Matt as well. So that was very, very tidy for Eli there as well. He's going to hope that he beats majority of the other creators as well. How is Mom Viper doing? She is... Where is she at the moment? She's still,
halfway through the stage.
Halfway through the stage,
honestly, it's impressive. I don't see any damage on that car. I don't see any sort of indicator that she's been even off the road. So this is a lot better than my first attempt at a rally game, put it that way.
Yeah, I think better than everybody's actually as well, because she's keeping it on the road, and there's some people in the YouTube chat that's saying that they may not like this stage because it's too narrow, and I don't like racing on tracks that are too narrow as well, but sometimes if you're doing well at your first time, then you could just literally build your confidence up, as Blondie is just about to finish her first stage as she crosses the line now. What's it going to be? A 6:33.5. So where will that put her on the leaderboard? We will
I think
find
there's
out.
been a penalty there because the average time is about 4 minutes 30.
Yeah,
so yes, it was a puncture. I did not notice that, but she had to stop to repair that puncture, presumably after the first crash there. So actually, that time is not bad at all. Only about, including the crash, only about 40 seconds off the pace. So remove maybe 10 to 15 seconds for dealing with that puncture and all of that. That is a very competitive stage time. Just a note as well, Dirk Chocolate completed the first stage in 91st place, about 32 seconds off of the lead there. So slower than Punju and Monkey Matt. I'm still looking for Aerotech's time and I have not found it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it as well, because he finished, I think, 57th or 58th overall after he completed the 8 stages. He can't make it tonight, so he's already done his stages already. He did find it quite difficult as well. You did obviously see, I think, Dark Viper in the background was pretty happy with how his mum is doing so far as well. She's almost at the end of the stage. That is impressive so far. She's got a few more parts of the track to go, of course. I'm sure the pace notes would help her. Normally, you don't have another person in the same room as you, so she's very, very lucky in that sense. I think she's remaining in second gear for most of it, but it's better to do that than hand over your car with very, very, very heavy damage. So she hasn't got that long to go.
I mean, it can also be very helpful to have somebody next to you, giving you advice and sort of telling you how the stage goes, especially if they have track knowledge. And this is, I mean, honestly, this is a great preview of not only how difficult a rally game is to get into, but also how accessible games have become. Because I know certain rally games that are just impossible to drive on the first time. So a great, really do feel like they mastered the inclusivity settings, let's say, in the game, or how the cars handle for a debutant, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot easier than previous games for me in terms of picking it up as well when I picked it up. So I could definitely agree with you as well. Kamikaze, 5th spot overall in stage 1, a 4:22, which is 2 seconds off the pace. Boy, oh boy, he's practiced. It is home's event this week, so you would expect him to be very quick, so watch out. And then Flembar, he goes fastest with a 4:14, so Kamikaze was probably thinking, oh, I could do well with this, be the fastest creator. Flembar saying, nope, take that, I should be the fastest one. But Mum Viper, she hasn't got that long to go. She's got a few more
couple of corners.
sections. Yep, a couple of corners. She's crawling, but sometimes that's the best time. There's a lot of support for her in the chat. I could see, I think, many ready people in the chat saying that she's legendary and all that. So fair play. The finish line is coming. Is she going to finish the stage, or she hits the marker? But she does. She's still got to meet. There we go. There we go. She completes
Across
it.
the stage. And the only crash that I saw was after the finish line. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And
I will say that's very impressive, because that's only double the normal stage time, which means she was going at least half the speed of a seasoned rally driver, which is impressive, I must say.
Yeah, that is very impressive from her as well. And I'm sure everyone will be happy with that. And now she's probably going to hand over to Dark Viper to complete the rest of the stages. And don't forget, Dark Viper finished the event last week, which was very, very impressive indeed. As I think we just see Dirk complete the second stage with a 6 minute, 6 minute and 4 seconds, which is it's obviously hard to tell at the moment because we're looking at stage 1. But yeah, 6 minute 4 is pretty decent, because the fastest time is set by Gretch again with a 5 minute and 35, which is 5 seconds quicker than everybody else. So speaking of second stages, we got Punju in the middle.
And over the snowbank as well.
Yeah, over the snowbank, but it's a 3 minute 40 so far, John.
Yeah, I was going to say these cars and this rally is always going to be decided by mistakes. There's a lot of flat-out sections and a few technical sections, but with these Super 2000 cars, which are naturally aspirated engines and quite a short wheelbase, most of the stage times are going to be incredibly close, like you saw on stage 1 and on stage 2 there for Dirk Chocolate. And so it will be decided by the mistakes that you make, or punctures or damage and stuff like that. And I noticed a trend at the top of the leaderboard of everybody going for the Opel Corsa. One of the problems with these cars is actually the understeer that you get with the default setup. Very, very difficult to tune it out of the Peugeot 207, for example, especially. That car is naturally understeery, so Punju, you can see he's dealing with that sometimes in the corners, where he just turns, and sometimes the car just doesn't have that initial turn in or bite, and he goes a bit wide and taps a snowbank a bit like that. And with the Opel Corsa, it's a lot more balanced. It doesn't have the oversteering, but it doesn't have too much understeer either. The Punto, a bit underpowered, and so not usually the car of choice here. So you'll see most of the fast drivers going for the Corsa and most of the top leaderboard times. But that being said, the times are so close that you can be competitive in any car in this car class.
Yes, the fastest Peugeot time at the moment is set by Class 1Q, who's on the Xbox with a 5 minute 46. And Punju likes to always go for the outsider in terms of car choice. He doesn't always want to go for the fastest car, because it's about content. You want to go something that's a bit more challenging. He usually does, so it's always great to see for him, as Blondie has just started as well. I believe Dirk has just started stage 3. Again, he's speed running and he's just completed a service, so he was doing a bit of repairs too, which you can do in the service area. Stage 2, by the way, is still in sunrise, and we'll head to morning once we hit stage 3 in just a few moments time for a lot of our creators here at the moment. And yeah, he's pretty much past halfway. 6 minutes past for Punju, as a bit of his car has gone off. So what happened there? A little bit of weight
reduction there. No worries. I think that's just an accumulation of the small impacts. You can, a bit like in real life, if you have an impact on the front or the side, it can loosen the bonnet pins or break them. And after a while, the bonnet just breaks free and just flicks up and over. It was quite lucky, actually, that it came off quite fast, because sometimes it can just get stuck in the loosened but not completely unfastened position and completely destroy your visibility over the crests. Not to mention the weight reduction that goes with it. So I think you'll have an extra boost of performance and engine cooling, which shouldn't be a problem, actually, on this rally, to be fair. Most of the cars, actually, in real life, have to run plates on the radiator so that they don't undercool the engine, effectively, and have a very cold engine for the entire rally. You'll see it in places like Rally Sweden, especially a couple of years ago in 2021 in Arctic Rally Finland. which was run in January or February, if I remember correctly. And they basically had 90% of the radiator covered up with these plates, trying to stop the engine getting cold. And in these rallies, there's a huge amount of regulations actually in real life of what you have to carry in the car. So you have to carry emergency medical kits because there's not the same amount of spectators and marshals out there because, of course, it's incredibly cold. So you have to carry survival kits with you. You have to carry survival suits with you in some cases, and emergency supplies and other bits and pieces to make sure that you're able to survive in a situation where you might crash and get the car stuck. It's actually very, very harsh conditions for the drivers and indeed for the cars. However, we are in June, so the Northern Hemisphere will actually be feeling the heat behind their simulators, paradoxically.
Yeah, I know in Britain, at least, in my part of the country, it was nice and warm today. It was nice and sunny. So, yes, I'm definitely feeling a bit hot in my room currently, which is always a good thing. As Punju finishing the second stage, an 8 minutes 15 split, and he's going to stop by the marshal very soon as well. Flembar and Kamikaze have just started. Dark Viper is back in his rig for this evening, so those three have started, and it is he picked up a 2-minute penalty, so it would have been a 5 minute 15 without that. Without that penalty.
To me, yeah, that sounds to me like a
reset
some
sort
of a
maybe?
crash with a puncture. Puncture, obviously, because that's 1 minute 30, and he might have gone off the road at the same time and got a 30-second reset penalty. We didn't see that. I might have missed it, but I did not see that on camera. So he must have had a low-key incident, but that has cost him a lot of time. And as I said, it's so easy to make a mistake. You can see Rift Blondie here, 132 kilometers per hour over blind crests in top gear, and it can end up catching you out. But I must admit, the driving that I've seen at the moment has been beyond impressive. Everybody taking immaculate racing lines, and it's only the smallest of offline incidents, the smallest of late braking that catches you out on these corners. And it sometimes it can feel like you did nothing wrong, and still it catches you out. So what Punjul will need to do is just try and have a mental reset and go again, because as far as I know, there's 2 drivers already here that have punctures in Dirk Chocolate and in Punju now. So it could get more, and so you could find yourself bringing back that gap towards the end of the rally, especially if you get a puncture on a big stage. And as you can see, I wanted to bring a small correction to what was said before. We do have a long stage, and it's stage 3, 30 kilometers. So Dirk Chocolate is into this one straight away. And you can see the car bouncing around.
Yeah, I apologize, I did not see that. I usually expect the last stage to be the longest, but I should have done my research.
We have so much information on our boards. I do not hold it against anybody whatsoever. There's a lot of problems with the cars in this rally. They're quite lightweight, and as you can see, bouncing around quite a lot for Dirk Chocolate. And that can be really, really difficult if you're trying to break into a corner. There's a lot of pace notes here where it's like left 4, left 5 over crest. And you can really miss your braking zone, not because you broke late or not early enough, but just because the car is lifting off the ground all of the time, and you can really get sort of drawn into pushing too much on these stages. But at the end of the day, it's a technical rally. You've really got to attack it, and you can see that in the driving style of everybody here. Everybody's being aggressive. They want to tune out that they understeer, and you'll see a lot of people on the handbrake nearly every single corner.
Yeah, indeed, as he is pretty much in the first half of this mini stage, as it were, is Dirk Chocolate. Blondie has just finished the second stage. I'll need to actually try and find her time in the second stage of what it could have been. Hopefully we'll have someone in for interviews very shortly, but for now,
it seems...
I think I'm just trying to find his time. We will...
And for some reason, I have lost access to RaceNet, which is an interesting one. So I won't be able to check the times for Riff Blondie's time at the moment, but I'll try and get that back as soon as possible.
I'll try and find it. I know Dirt Chocolate was 50th in stage 2. I found him. I found him on the standings.
Looks like we could. Oh, Riff Blondie's just muted herself again, so we won't be able to get an interview with Riff Blondie.
I think we should get Kamikaze. Yeah.
Indeed. I'm reading our minds right there. And here he is in the interview booth, Mr. Kamikaze. How's it going so far? Some competitive times on the board. How does the car feel?
Car feels great. I did 2 big rolls in stage 1, so I lost my engine power, so we lost a little bit of time in stage 1 and stage 2, but we managed to do, I think we are 3.5 seconds behind the leader on stage 2.
That is impressive.
But we can fix everything, so put on some fresh tires, and now we need to start pushing. So yeah, we are 10 seconds behind Glenward, I think. So
yeah, by calculations, I think it's 12 seconds behind the leader, but that's one mishap. That's one half spin. That's one stuck on the snowbank. As you know, in this rally, there's such a high chance of making a small mistake and it having a disastrous consequence. But how do you like the car concept? The car sort of 4-wheel drive, quite low power and high grip in these stages.
It's the first 4-wheel drive I feel like I can drive like a front-wheel drive. It's so understeering. The rear end of the car is just bouncing around and just being dragged after the car. So yeah, it's just steering and I would power to the floor.
It sounds like a perfect rally, to be fair to me. So you know, it's definitely spectacular to watch. There's a lot of bouncing going on and all of that. So I think, well, for me personally, I'll just wish you all the best, because I don't think there's any jinxes needed this time. It's such a tricky one.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, we will try to push on the long one. It's almost 17 minutes long, so it will be a hard run for the longest stage on the rally. It's all over 30 k's, so
not as long as last week.
Almost, but it's longer in time, but not in kilometers.
Indeed. Well, we'll let you get back to it as you want to get mentally prepared probably for the stage. Indeed, a long one. So many thanks for that interview there. Some very interesting insight, just corroborating some of the info that I felt when driving the rally myself, trying to get a bit of practice in. No, sorry, wait, I don't practice for these rallies at all. Cancel that.
Do you not?
It's one of those rallies where you have to practice, because you have to be at one with the car. As you can see with Dirt Chocolate, the smallest amount of understeer, the smallest amount of hesitation can have just disastrous consequences 4 corners down the road, because you're constantly having to correct and steer and sort of choose the racing line. It's like for example, the first sector and second sector at Kota, or mainly the first sector, where you have to just constantly weave right to left, and if you get one racing line wrong, it hampers you for 2 or 3 corners afterwards. So you really have to be a thinking driver in these type of rallies.
And you got to think ahead. You got to think, right, when will be the next point to turn? Because even though the pace notes may come at a suitable moment, you got to think fast, and you got to think on your feet sometimes. Because if you plant your car in the wrong place, then you're going to be in a spot of bother. Kamikaze has just started. Flembar's about to start. Pretty much most people, or the majority, are in the start of the longest stage of the rally so far. It's our producers told us that we can pronounce these, but apologies if we pronounce these wrong. Holtjon. No, I definitely said that wrong. I'm not.
Holtjon. I'd say Holtjon, but I'm probably wrong
there we
as well.
Yeah, I'm rubbish at Scandinavian languages, so I do apologise about that. But at least it's in the morning and it's not in the sunrise, so they're able to see more of the track that's around them as well, which can help them at the longest stage. And luckily, it's not actually snowing, it's just snow on the ground. So whereas last week it was a bit of light snow falling on the ground whilst they were racing, which can be difficult for anyone. So even though it's the longest in time, it's the shortest in terms of kilometers. Big mistake for all that.
What a save! What a save right there. Just clipped, got out of line on the bumps, just bounced and sort of counter-steered, or was forced to counter-steer. And then in recovering it, the rear of the car slipped to the right and he clipped a rock by just a couple of millimeters, but it sent him nearly into the snowbank. And just with so much commitment, he just kept it flat out planted and recovered it with a bit of counter-steer. Again, demonstrating what he said about having to drive it like a front-wheel drive car. In a front-wheel drive car, if you're in trouble, you just keep the throttle planted 100% and you just try and recover it with the steering. And as we can hear at the pace notes, I think in Norwegian, I'm not quite sure, but definitely not English, that's for sure. You can hear also on the car just the amount of revs. The higher you rev these things, the better, the more power you've got, the more control you have, paradoxically, of the car. So these cars were used as I'm just mesmerized by the speed right now. It's incredible to watch this speed from all of our drivers, not just Kamikaze, but everybody. It's just flat out commitment. That's what we love in rally. And you can see the concentration on their faces as well, as I just point that out. I was going to mention the S2000 class was the predecessor to the R5. Oh, Dirk, a huge mistake there, crashing into the sort of side rocky face of the hill there and into the barrier. Luckily, there was a barrier to recover, but you don't want to get a puncture in this one. I think he got away with it, but you can't afford too many of those incidents. Sooner or later, you will get some damage from it, but everything looks okay. And he's looking very committed. You can see that just pure concentration, as if he's in, you know, a three-way battle for the lead on a Formula One track, just absolutely 100% committed. And I must say, Punju as well, looking very concentrated. Oh, Dark Viper's over as well. It's all happening. It's all kicking off in this stage.
And as you said, Punju was looking good. He hit the log. So he's going to reset the track and he's going to get a penalty for most likely.
First jinx of the season. No worries. It's very tricky. Yeah, it's a canon event at this point.
Dirk is definitely looking committed as well to try and he's over halfway at this stage so far, as Punju again has made a little bit of a mistake, which is going to cost him time a little bit there. This is the stage where you do not want to have your tyres fell on you, because if you have a puncture, you only get one spare, and if you get a puncture again later on in the rally, then you're in deep trouble and you're more than likely going to DNF. So I think Punju's got to make sure he uses his tyres effectively. Someone's saying in the chat that Punju playing pinball mid-stage.
It's very accurate. It's very accurate, because with the snowbanks being so close on either side of the stage, what can happen in multiple sections of this track is you can just hit one snowbank and then be pinballed, quite literally, into the next snowbank and just go like 6 or 7 times like that until you get the car slowed down and recover it. So that's when you get a puncture, and that's when you can get a double or triple puncture. I've seen it happen before. A car just pinball in the snowbanks and get 2 or 3 punctures in the space of a couple of seconds. Dirk Chocolate, incredible recovery there. Just doing a Tony Hawk's just like sort of skateboard grind over the top of that snowbank there. Incredible stuff, a crossover between the two of my favorite sports to watch. Just we're seeing some lucky recoveries here, but I think that's just a symptom of the amount of commitment they are showing to these stages. These cars, as Kamikaze said, very understeery. So if you start to underdrive the car, it can just become a nightmare to navigate, because you're constantly on the handbrake, constantly going down the gears. You really want to get it committed and have that. Oh, I think that might be Dirk Chocolate in trouble there. He had a huge clip of the barrier, and that must be a puncture, surely. The car's not handling correctly now. Maybe suspension damage even, because over the bumps, that car looks like it is either down on a tyre or that the suspension is suffering. Just got the line completely wrong. Again, the car drifting out a little bit on the snow on the rear, and he just tapped the rear wheel, I think, on that snowbank. I think he's got away with it somehow, but that car is a bit worse for wear.
Yeah, it's not the car it was when he repaired it in the service area in the end of stage 3, and there's going to be no service area for a bit of a while. I think the next service area after that will be stage 5,
stage 4,
and that
after
is
stage 4.
After stage 4, beginning of stage 5. So, and stage 4 it's probably one of the shortest stages, 6.6 kilometers. So he doesn't have that long, but usually 3 minutes could go by very slowly if you do have a puncher. I think he's taken it for all beans, so I think it's not too bad, because if he did have a puncher, he would have been probably in 3rd or 2nd gear or something. So he's doing all right.
He didn't seem to sort of take a few corners to recover. When I have a mistake, I try and sort of rein myself in a little bit and recover the car, see if everything's okay, if there's no damage. But Dirk's just gone flat out again right from the mistake onwards, and it doesn't seem to phase him at all, which is probably the correct way to do it in rally, really. As soon as you start second-guessing yourself.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah, he really does have nothing to lose, and obviously trying to complete the stage in a set time like he's trying to do is very, very difficult to keep concentration with. As we see Dark Viper having another roll just off camera there. Looks like that might be a little bit of damage. He's off the track, just got a reset in there, but he was quite a considerable distance down that bank there, I think into the river there on the right-hand side. So quite a tricky stage, this one. Obviously, I was going to mention about, again, like I do every week, in a long stage, you have to keep the consistent sort of drive. But on this one, it's completely impossible because the snowbanks and everything do so much to disrupt your driving that you have to be reactive more on this rally. And that's where these cars will actually help a lot. The S2000 class, predecessor to the R5, which is now the Rally 2 car class, were sort of the learner cars of the day, used also in the European Rally Championship, which was more like the Intercontinental Rally Championship back in the day. And these cars were very, very popular on national rallies as well. But they're quite consistent cars to drive, so that should mitigate a little bit of the difficulties in driving. As we can see, Dirt Chocolate crossing that last 1 mile to go board, which I only found out about the meaning of that board a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
So when you cross that board, you know that you're getting to the stage finish. There are a few stages where there's some boards as well mid-stage which catch you out in Sweden, but in this rally, as far as I know, there's none of those boards. Sometimes I'd get to halfway on the stage and I'd slow down because I thought I was at the finish. And Dirt Chocolate, not quite at the finish, but getting stopped by some rocks there.
I think last week it was the trees that caught people out. This week it could be the rocks and the snowbanks potentially as well. But Dirk hasn't got that long to go. You could see the references knowing that he's finishing, and he has finished. He has to wait by the marshal once more. And that is stage 3 done for Mr. Dirt Chocolate. So the benchmark to beat for all of our other creators is as follows: 19 minutes and 2 seconds.
I will put him in 42nd place according to the leaderboard that I have here.
That's
so
not
very
bad.
Respectable time. Yeah, very respectable. And seeing the mistakes that he had and the recoveries that he had to do, I think he's happy with that. I caught a glimpse of a smile on his face then, that's for sure. As we've got Punju into the last third of the stage, and very close to that barrier. Then he had to put on the brakes there, full on anchors, and exactly the same corner as Dirk there, just clipping the rocks on the inside and getting just slightly brushing the barrier there. But brushing the rocks a little bit more there and getting stuck on the snowbank. That's another danger of this rally, getting stuck, and I think he has a puncture maybe. We'll have to wait and see, but it doesn't look like he's steering straight, so we'll have to wait and see.
I think you can see on the dashboard as well. Is there a bit of red, or is that showing
radiator? Yeah, that's radiator damage. So that first light at the top is radiator damage. The middle one is handbrake, and the bottom one is the one you really don't want to get. That is engine damage, and that's when you know you're in serious trouble.
I don't think he's got puncher, because otherwise, so he hasn't got a puncher, but he's definitely got radiator damage. I could tell you that. So I think the remainder of this rally for him for this stage at least is going to be very difficult. But for Kamikaze, the home favourite, he's just looking so good around the track that he knows and loves. He's taken it so well, and just look how committed he is once again with 11 minutes gone. He's already halfway as well. He has got let me have a look, stage 3, 17 minutes and 12 seconds to beat if he wants to be top overall. Don't know what that will mean if he wants to beat Flembar's time, but they're probably not that far with each other. But yeah, his stage so far is looking absolutely fantastic. He's just showing off now, isn't he?
Well, I mean, I'd call all of his driving showing off. He's just such a good driver. He's having to adjust something mid-stage there. You can see adjusting the glasses, but also just flat out and just reaching across to adjust something as well. He's just so cool, calm and collected. A true Scandinavian behind the wheel, that's for sure. And cool as a cucumber, as you could say. And he is just absolutely flying. Look at this driving. Just nothing phases him. And that's a trait that you will see about all of the top drivers. They can make a mistake, but the instant they're back on the road, they're full concentration mode again, as if it never happened. And this could well be a very top time, if not a stage winning time, if he doesn't make a mistake. He did say he was going to push during this stage, and it looks exactly like he is doing that to 110% at this point.
You can tell he's practiced. You could definitely tell he's practiced, because you wouldn't go that fast if you've not have practiced as well. And he doesn't have to rely on the pace notes above. You could just rely on the audio that he's hearing, even though it's in a different language. Obviously, it's in his native language as well, which shows the experience he has as a rally esports driver as well, and how much I think a lot of our creators and people in the club in general look up to some of these fast esports drivers. As apparently, according to the chat, Punju is missing a right door and a left rear wheel. Punju is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I did think he sustained some damage. I'm not sure if that's the same incident that we saw, but he is not looking... Oh, yeah, you can definitely see it. Yeah, 100% you can see it. And I do think that was sustained in the crash that we saw earlier. But unfortunately, that is going to be a very, very long end to the stage. I honestly think it looks like he's got 3 sectors to go. He should probably stop and repair that tyre. Because it will start to hamper him more and more, and he'll just accumulate the damage. It's not the time... As Kamikaze on 2 wheels there. My gosh, what a recovery. Just on the snowbank. I think he did that on purpose to be able to keep the throttle absolutely flat out. But my God, as Punju's off the roads just a tiny bit as well, he's recovered it now. But yeah, everything happening in this stage as we expect it to on the long stages. That's just another measure of how confident these drivers are sometimes, in that he could keep the accelerator flat out and go 2 wheels and just not think at all about it. He still looks ever so calm. The steering inputs, you can see a steering wheel on this camera there, just absolutely cool. Just making one input on the wheel to get the car turned in. That's exactly what you want to do. And just not having really to counter steer too much at all. Incredible.
Yeah, I think it's the mental stage as well of a rally that you got to think about. Yes, you got to drive well, but if you make a mistake, it's how you pick things up a little bit as well. And if you struggle a bit mentally, then how on earth are you going to focus for the rest of it too? And potentially we could see more mistakes with people that are not prepared mentally for these type of mistakes. Because I think at least you got to be prepared to at least make at least one mistake. That's part of life, right? You can't always expect to have a perfect rally from start to finish in the event. And Kamikaze definitely looked a bit calm as well. And Punju, when I was watching him, when he was making mistakes, at least he was laughing about it and having some fun. That's the most important part of it. Because if you're not gonna laugh about it, or if you're not gonna just stay calm, then you're probably gonna struggle for the rest of it. But we don't have very long for Kamikaze to complete his stage. Dark Viper's not doing too bad either with his stage. 16 minutes gone for him, and Blondie so far, she's almost heading to the end, as well as Punju. So Blondie's actually not too bad. She's almost finished and she's come to the end very soon. So it looks very tidy for her. Obviously, we can't tell if she's made any mistakes or got any penalties so far, but from the progress she's made, at least, it's looking pretty tidy from her. But Punju is just about to finish, and it's not that long before Kamikaze is about to finish either. So we'll watch these two come across the line very, very shortly. But I do expect Kamikaze to have a really fast time.
For this past minute, I have been just sat here with my mouth wide open watching Kamikaze's run through here. This is absolutely mesmerizing stuff, and I can honestly say, even from a driver experience like mine, I have no idea how he is doing this. I have no idea how these top boys do, boys and girls must be said as well, must correct myself, do these kind of stage times. It's absolutely incredible the amount of talent that we have.
You're probably saying.
Yeah, I do not know how to do this. I thought I was fast on these stages. It turns out definitely not. And he's about to come across the line right now. 17:03. That is a stage-winning time by nearly 10 seconds. Nearly 10 seconds. That looked fast because it was fast. What an incredible time.
I did say it was going to be fast, and I was right. 17 minutes 03.379. He is the new stage leader, and you can tell he was pretty happy with that. Let's just say that. 8 seconds separating the top two.
He's near enough recovered all of the time that he lost on the first two stages. He is 2.4 seconds overall behind Gresh. That's incredible. And just to put in perspective how fast they are going on these stages, P3 is 42 seconds behind the lead after 3 stages.
And you can see Punju's just finished as well. I didn't quite see Punju's time, so I will go on RaceNet because John's RaceNet unfortunately does decide to not work.
My RaceNet has come back and I'm already checking. But I have not seen his time on the leaderboard. It's not going to, sadly with the puncture, it's not going to be a good time. But it's here somewhere. Got to scroll through all of these legendary names that have already completed the stages.
222 names have completed stage 3 so far.
It's incredible to see the amount of participation. I would say this is one of the rallies that I would definitely participate in. Riff Blondie Crawl making a huge recovery there, just getting caught on the snowbank. I honestly think this car class and this rally is so fun because you have a lot of grip and not too much power, so you can push flat out on most of it as long as you don't make any mistakes.
20 minutes and 39 seconds for Punju, which puts him 128th.
Indeed it does. I've just found his time as well. So quite a disastrous stage. 3 minutes 35 lost during the stage to the leaders, but anything can go wrong. It's only stage 3 of 8 stages. There's so much more that could happen to everyone else. He could find himself with some very good points for the Creator Series, if nothing else. Let's see what Riff Blondie did then. It was a good stage, it looked like. A 20-minute, that's going to be a very good time. 137th.
Yeah, 137th, yeah.
That's a very, very good time. Possibly a few mistakes, though. I can't see her being 3 minutes off the pace, so maybe no reset penalties, but maybe a few spins and all that, which we didn't catch on camera. But honestly, being near the top 100 in this one is more than enough for most drivers. As Dark Viper, that car does not look like it's handling correctly.
I bet you it's a puncher. I bet he has a puncher. He's got no radiator damage.
He has a puncture on the rear, and I'd suggest it's a rear right puncture, if not 2 punctures. If it's 2 punctures, he might be in trouble. In fact, it's a question also whether, as he crashes into the last possible place really to crash here on the bridge, I'd suggest he's got 2 punctures here. This is very much looking like he's got 2 punctures on the right, which could be a problem because most drivers carry 1 spare only. Let's have a look as he gets to the finish line. We'll get an opportunity when he stops at the marshal post to have a look at those tires. He definitely has a puncture on the rear, but does he have a puncture on the front as well? Let's have a look as he does a little pirouette into the marshal post.
Oh!
And I'm sorry to say, but that looks like a double puncture to me. I'm
That
not
does
quite
look
sure,
like a
but
double puncher. Oh,
4 minutes off the lead, which is, it could be worse. There's a lot of drivers behind him. I just want to point that out. So he's done a lot better than
he's
other
not
drivers,
last.
but yeah, he won't be happy with that. That's for sure. And yeah. Maybe we need to get Mum Viper back in the seat to just drive safely through the stages. Who knows? Okay, that's a little bit harsh, but
That is a bit
sometimes
harsh, John.
sometimes you need to. My point was going to be sometimes you need to just rein it back a little bit on the pace and just drive within yourself.
I think, John, we're going to get Dirk in for an interview. I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's been going quite well for you, and you looked very concentrated, I must say, while you were mid-stage there, especially on the long stage. A few mistakes, a few incidents. How's it feeling so far?
Solid. To be fair, that long stage, I think I made like 1 or 2 blunders. So like nothing crazy though. And then that last, I've done stage 4, 3, and that one I got 1 turn wrong because I don't know my lefts to the rights apparently. I'm cooking. I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy. I'm very
You did a
happy.
good time. You did a really good time. You were 40. I think after everyone has just finished their runs, you came in the top 50, 43rd as well. So
I am happy with how today's. I really like the. I don't know what it is about the snow, but for some reason I just really like it. I tried a couple of setups, found one that I was content with. I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. Won't send it too much, and I've just been like, keep it on. When you're comfortable, go full sends. Otherwise, just don't do anything dumb, and it is paying dividends.
Indeed, we've seen quite a few incidents and punctures happen. So it's one of those rallies. I've said it to multiple drivers at this point. One of those rallies where sometimes just keeping it consistent, driving within your own pace, can be the winning strategy. As I'm seeing off camera here, Punju is having a disastrous stage on stage 4.
He's had loads of flips, John. I've been watching him throughout his 4th stage.
It's looking like he didn't even carry a spare, which is fair enough. You don't want to upset the weight balance of these cars, but it's very tricky for him. So seeing as you're on a sort of a time limit here, what's your strategy then, Dirk, going into these next stages? Is it push flat out, or are you going to keep the same mentality of just keep it calm and consistent?
I will take it easy, and as soon as I feel comfortable, there was a point where we were doing the stage, and I was like, I don't remember the last time I like broke or lifted, and I was like, I should probably lift a little bit. So as soon as I'm comfortable, I'm like locked in, I'm going flat. But then as soon as if I break a tiny bit of like any bit of distractions, anything, I'm starting to lift because I'm like, I need to lock in first before I can go full sends. I am starting to understand rallying a lot better now. That's all I can say.
Dangerous times for all of our other drivers then. They better watch out at the top of the leaderboard, and I better let you go and smash those stages so that you can get those times on the board. But best of luck. I promise to not jinx you so much, and yeah, hope to see the best of driving from you.
Brilliant. Cheers, I appreciate that, guys. Cheers.
So that was Dirk in for an interview.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the different perspectives that we have from each driver. So far, each interview that we've had has been just a completely different mindset. And it's lovely to see that such a technical rally, such a difficult rally, provokes different reactions from people. That's part of the beauty of rallying. There's not one winning strategy. There's multiple strategies that you can have to get a good result in the rally. And unfortunately for some of our drivers, including Punju and Dark Viper, their rally is going from bad to worse, as I've just seen them just bouncing off snowbanks off camera here for about 2 minutes flat now. So they're suffering from not having the spare tires at this point. This would be one of the rallies where I would consider taking 2 spare tires, not only because it can help you with the balance of the car, aka making the car more oversteery because the tire is in the rear of the car, so more weight on the back, but also because it gives you that margin of error and that safety net if you need it.
And sometimes you do need that safety net on stuff like this, especially when you had that long stage. Of course, yeah, you got shorter stages to come, but you got to make your tyres last for the long stage, because otherwise you're going to be in a bit of trouble for the rest of it as well. So with Punju also having radiator damage too, that's not going to help him one bit. But he's still going, of course, and sometimes if you have too much damage, the better thing for some drivers is to survive. As Punju, speaking of that, he's about to finish
Just
stage
surviving.
4. Yeah, he's just survived that as well. Kamikaze has just started stage 4, as well as Flembo, 45 seconds in. Same with Dirk Chocolate, as he's had a bit of a moment there, but he saved that perfectly there. Punji 174th for stage 4.
That's not too bad, to be honest. With a puncture, that's a respectable stage time, I must say so.
That's good.
They are pushing, and we've got Vlembar and Kamikaze next to each other here. Vlembar making a small mistake there. I have not seen Vlembar's time on stage 3. I cannot find his time. But he has definitely completed stage 3.
Did he skip to the next day, maybe?
It is possible that he might have had a problem. We'll have to get him in for an interview at some point to ask him what happened. I'll keep searching for his time. But it's you know, one of those things where you have to just keep pushing if you make mistakes.
I do believe we have someone coming up for an interview next.
Aha, Punju. In for an interview. If we can, let's see. Yes, the microphone has become unmuted. A very, very tricky stint for you, it must be said, but you made it to the end. That's the main thing. The car has, I think, emotional damage at this point.
Much worse than that, sadly. much worse.
How difficult was it driving on those 3? Was it 3 tires?
It was. It was 3 tires. I've gotten 2 punctures so far today. It's been a rough one. Yeah. So. First one before the first service, I got a puncture on like 20 seconds in. My wheel just started like acting a little bit funky. It messed me up, and then I just straight lined it into a car, and then boom. I know how do you hit a car in a rally stage, right? So that was unfortunate. For the second one, it was 2 minutes into that 20-minute stage. I lost my left rear, and I forgot to change tires for that service as well. So not only was I worn tires when I had a fresh set, I also didn't have an extra spare. So I had to run the full 3 wheels for the whole rest of the stage, and then the next one. And you know what? It was pretty fun. At that point, I gave up all my care of like, oh man, today's going bad, poo-poo. Now I was like, let's just go for it. And
I knew you said that.
Yeah.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, because I was watching you in your face as well. You were just like, us, oh. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to have some fun for the content. There we go. And that's the beauty of the creator series.
That's what it turned into eventually. I just kind of realized there's no point in even caring at this point. I just may as well send it. And so we did. And yeah. And now I'm going to gamble it with 6 minutes of extra. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been very fun. I love this car track combo. I'm really sad that it's not going super well for me.
Sorry to interrupt. Dirk Chocolate had just the biggest recovery I've ever seen possibly on this game past the finish line. Just over the snowbank and just reappeared on the track as if nothing happened. Anyway, sorry for interrupting, Mr. Punju.
Now, why did you have to tell me that? I wanted you to say Dirk Chocolate just had the biggest crash of all time. He yard sailed across 100 different continents. That's what you needed to say, dang it.
Well, he hasn't finished the rally so far, and if there's one thing that we've learned and we've seen is that the smallest of incidents can have the biggest of consequences. So I can only hope that the next part of the rally goes a bit smoother for you. But hey, if you've got nothing to lose, it means you can push flat out, which means that there's all the fun to be had.
That is true. Also, you were right. The smallest of incidents can be detrimental. I just spilled a little bit of coffee on myself. Man, today's going rough, isn't it?
Oh, no.
It's a good day. It's a great day. Great day. That's why I don't drink
Today
coffee.
is a day of all days, as they say.
It is, right? Yeah. But hey, you know what? Only up from here. Only up from here.
Indeed.
I'm going to tell myself to cope. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Who knows? Who knows?
Yep. That's the spirit indeed, and I can only hope that you have the most entertaining of rallies, whichever way it goes at this point. So yeah, all the best of luck, and we won't keep you waiting any longer. I'm sure you're very, very happy to play pinball with the snowbanks once again. Okay, looks like we've got Vlembar in for maybe an interview, and I've just managed to find his times in time as well. P2 on stage 3 and P3 stage 4. How's it going so far? It seems to be on the pace.
Actually, better than I even expected. I did have a small mistake on the stage, so the gap is like barely even now. It's like only 4 tenths behind me, so it's looking really close.
Yeah, the pace, as expected in this rally, it was always going to be decided by small mistakes and just commitment. How difficult is it with the low power range and the revving of these cars to keep it 100%? Obviously, you and Kamikaze, two of the fastest drivers in these events, you're obviously pushing the limit. So how difficult is that limit to find and to keep?
Yeah, I think it is somewhat difficult to keep the revs always up. But I think it's also in line with getting the perfect line into a corner, so you don't lose too much power by taking not a good line. So it's a lot of factors that play into the perfection of these stages here.
So you'd have a tendency to say a smoother driving style might be beneficial for these cars then, like Kamikaze described it, as a sort of front-wheel drive driving style. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's definitely this way. Although I have to say, maybe it's just me, but I think the cars in general are fairly balanced. So they don't really like pull that hard like front-wheel drives normally do, like the older ones maybe. So it's a bit easier to control in my opinion.
Fascinating analysis from you there. I wish I could drive a car
it's just
as
the
good.
Corsa. I don't know with the other cars, but that's how I feel at least with it.
Yeah, definitely the Corsa seems to be the one that every of the top runners has chosen. I think maybe because it's a bit less understeery than the other cars. But what's your strategy then going to be for the next couple of stages? Is it going to be focusing on the Creator Series Championship points, which is starting to close up, or are you going for that overall win?
I'm still thinking about it. If I really commit on the last 4 stages, because Kamikaze is also really pushing. So if I just make one big mistake, it could be very big and maybe cause a lot of damage, and I don't really want to risk it. So I'm gonna try my hardest to push, but I'm expecting to probably finish just behind him.
Oh, well, bit of fighting talk still, but I'm sure you'll do your best out there. It's been mesmerizing to see the pace of both of you and just the driving. I've even said on record that I myself would not be able to do anywhere close to this. So I think just being able to set these times in the first place.
Just you wait.
Now that's jinxing. I don't like that. Normally it's my job to jinx people. But I will say all the best for the next few stages, unless you've got something to ask as well, Jess. I kind of crowded you out of this interview by mistake, but feel free, obviously.
Nah, you haven't crowded me at all, because you asked the majority of the questions that I was going to ask as well. So yeah, that's enough for me. But brilliant job so far as well, and probably one of the cars I would have gone for as well. So you picked well there. But best of luck for the remainder of this event.
Thank you.
And if you want to get involved at home as well, you can. The club is still open, of course, as Punju has just had a moment. Oh, and he stopped. Okay,
that's going to be damage. He's after the stage. That was after the finish line. I am not sure if the damage counts after the finish line. I'm hoping not, because that was flat out into a tree. The stage time is
good. 48
Hang on a minute.
Stage 5.
Would that be a stage winning time then? If he would not have crashed? Am I right in saying that? Incredible.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, because the staging it would have been way more than a stage winning time. That was very impressive for Punji there as well. So that, I think the mentality that we were just talking with Punji, sometimes you just gotta have a bit of fun with no pressure, and he had no pressure. It's like, oh, I did rubbish, but I'm going to carry on it. And you did see, you did see there was quite a few mistakes from in the first half, but there was some moments where he performed brilliantly, and it looked very, very tidy from him. Look at that jump there, the punch you did. That was incredible.
This is the replay of the moment where we had the interview there. That was an incredible save. Incredible. Just going over the snowbank as if he was on the snowboard. Once again, I think he's driving just a motorized snowboard. I think they call that a snowmobile at this point. But anyway, you get my point.
You do get your point. You do get your point, yeah. But if you do want to get involved, go on to the racenet.com. You can sign up for free with your EA account. Go on to clubs in the EA Sports WRC section, and you should find the EA Creator Series WRC Club. We're on round 5 this week. Rally Scandia is the event you got to take part in. And you got until tomorrow at 8 a.m. UK time to get involved. And who knows, you could be on top of the leaderboard coming up as well. And if you don't have time to do it this week, then we got Portugal, which starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. that you can get involved in the H3 RWD cars, which look very, very nice to drive. So I'm sure they're going to be in for a real treat. Dark Viper, I believe, has just finished his run. I can't remember where he finished in that one, so I'll have to find him. But Flembar has just started. I'm losing track of what stage he's on now. Is it stage 5 or stage 6?
I think they are on stage 6. Although that being said, Kamikaze's completed, but I can't see Vlembar's time, so they might be at the end of stage 5 at this point. I think we can have an interview maybe with Riff Blondie.
Hello.
She is there. Hello, hello. It's been going well in terms of pace so far. A few mistakes, but quite honestly, a very, very impressive drive from yourself. How do you feel about it?
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm trying a new strategy. I'm just, when in doubt, flat out.
Hey!
I'm not going safely for it.
I think I said that on stage 1. You looked absolutely committed, just flat out, and it looked absolutely beautiful to watch. So it seems like that strategy is working out for you for the moment. So how do you feel about the car choice and the combo? It's a few drivers have described it as appealing. Other drivers have said it's quite tricky. What do you think?
I have to be honest and tell you that I did not try any other car. It was just, I'm going to take a look at what cars we have as options. And I just went with this one, and it suited my driving style. And I was like, okay, I'm not trying any other one. I'm not trying to complicate my life. It's fine as it is.
You might as well, because if you try another car, then you probably will take a while to get used to the car that you were comfortable in the first place. So I can understand why you chose that one as well. Quite a popular choice, I would say as well. So
you're right, Jessica, 100%. I would just messed up with everything, trying to figure out how each one of them are drivable. So I'm happy with this car, honestly. It feels very good on snow.
Yeah, a lot of people have said how they're enjoying the fact that they can push these cars a lot, as you've just said. And I think one of the difficulties of this event is actually finding the confidence to push that sort of flat out pace because of the snow, because of the banks, because of just the amount of possibilities to get punctures, as drivers like Punju and Dark Viper have found out. As we see Jerk Chocolate going off the road there, just off camera, I think, for our audience. But a lot of drivers making mistakes where you haven't made mistakes. So honestly, just impressive.
I don't consider that I didn't make mistakes, but I kept going on with them. I choose to be all in instead of worrying that I had a puncture in the first stage. I rolled the car upside down a few times. And a few other of those.
Well, there's a famous saying in rally: if the car gets back to service and it has no damage on it, you haven't been trying hard enough. So you've definitely took the spirit of rallying to 100% now.
100% agreed.
So I think all I have to do is wish you the best of luck for the rest of the rally. I think you've done yourself proud, if nothing else, up until this point, and I'm sure there's more to come in the I think last 2 stages. Or is it 3 stages for you? I am not quite sure. 3 stages.
It's 3 for me.
I said nothing.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, everyone's on stage 6. Dirk's on stage 7, I believe, because he's speed running.
Got it.
Well, they're all speed running, but there you go.
well, Dirk Chocolate is speeding running more.
Anyway, best of luck to Riff Blondie there. She seems to be in the highest of spirits, and that's what we like to see.
I love that.
Yeah, I think, honestly, all of the interviews we've had have just been everybody high spirits at the moment, which is, brilliant.
Even if you're struggling, which is a good thing.
I think it's to do with just the stages and the cars. These cars are just so much fun because unlike the Group B that we had last week, unlike rear-wheel drive and sometimes unlike front-wheel drive, you can just mash the throttle pedal in these cars and just try and go flat out, and it will work most of the time. And that's just such a thrilling experience to have, and it's why these cars were very popular with drivers back in the day, because they were a great way to learn how to drive on the limit, but also to have a fun time while doing it. And
it's rear-wheel drive
in
next
snow,
week as
it can
well.
be difficult.
It's rear-wheel drive next week in Portugal, so they're going to have to contend with that as well. With stage 5, by the way, everyone has done that, and the fastest time.
Blondies.
Oh,
no.
Blondies!
I think we might have jinxed Riff Blondie.
You jinxed that hard, John. But you haven't jinxed many people tonight, so I think take it as a win compared to last week.
My tally is up to 2, I think.
Yeah, 2. You are correct on that one. Kamikaze is leading stage 5 currently with a 2-minute 58.205. Almost 2 seconds clear of Gretsch in P2. Flembar is 4th with a 3-minute 3.251. So Kamikaze is still the time to beat right now, as everyone is on stage 6. Sunrise, clear snow 6.1 kilometers. So that's what we obviously got to keep an eye on, of course. But as Kamikaze's just hit a bit of props there in the background, but he's still able to keep his speed there as well. Dirk's looking pretty promising as he heads towards the end of, I believe it's stage 7. I might be wrong. I don't know where he is overall.
Riff Blondie's got stuck on a snowbank as well, just off camera here, and
she's got
just
radiator
recovering.
damage. She's got radiator damage.
She had that before, but it won't help, that's for sure. I wanted to point out as well, while we're at it, as we see Riff Blondie spinning again, it might be a puncture or something like that.
It might be your jinx.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it, but I was thinking it, that's for sure. One thing that I wanted to mention is the difference in visibility that you have from this rally compared to as Dirk's missed the junction and is quite literally in the bin. But the difference in visibility.
Number 1 for me. I said he was going to do well in this stage, and he had a spin, so that's jinx 1 for me. Sorry, Dirk. Anyway, carry on.
No, I'm quite glad that you point that out, because at least it proves it's just not me all the time. That's fine. But the difference in visibility here is quite contrasting to Rally Sweden, which obviously is also snow in this game. Although this weekend that's just passed, they had the Royal Rally Sweden, which is the same stages as Rally Sweden, but in summer conditions. So Sweden can be run, and we've got reports of another puncture for Punju.
I think we could have a clip from that, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a clip here. I'll continue what I was explaining afterward. Oh, yeah. So easy to do on that corner.
Big flip.
The pace note is quite deceiving on that one, so I won't say it's Punju's fault on there. I think it's a left 5 over crest, but you've got to slow down because it's off camber. You can, it's so tricky to have the rocks on the outside just to give him a puncture is just adding insult to injury right there. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, you can see on both perspectives here from Dirk Chocolate and Riff Blondie, the visibility is a lot better than what you get in Sweden, because you have that depth and perspective with all of the crests and all that to see where you're going. Whereas Sweden, which is majoritarily flat, you can't see anything because the snow literally blinds you, and it does in real life as well. They wear special glasses in snow events so that they can get a bit more depth, the same type of ski glasses that you'd use for skiing, for example.
355 for Riff Blondie, which puts 120 something. I couldn't quite catch what the leaderboard time was, but that still was decent despite the issue she was having in that stage, of course, as well. And we do know that Flembar and Kamikaze is preparing for the next stage, whilst Dirt Chocolate is still ploughing on.
Bunju had a good stage there, 44th on stage 6, 23 seconds back, but obviously he's carrying that damage. And despite the impacts and all of that, yeah, so actually it was a very good stage. Also, an honourable mention to Monkey Matt there on that stage as well, 21st overall, only 14 seconds off the lead. So quite a few of our off-stream drivers doing very, very well. Aerotech as well, I've just noticed, in 36th place overall on that stage, 20 seconds off the lead. So although not everybody is on broadcast, we have a lot of drivers completing the times off live stream, shall we say.
Yeah, and I wonder if some people are having a go now, so make sure you do get involved, and if we do see you in the chat and you do a good time, who knows, we'll give you a shout out as well. Of course, you can follow us at the Creator Series on Twitch, and you can also join us at EA Sports WRC on YouTube as well, so you can check us out every week, every Monday night at 7:30 as well. And someone has asked in the chat, I think it was Trev Ken, why doesn't the game tell other people you got a puncher at the end of the race notes? I don't know why for some occasions. For some people it tells you right when it happens, and for some people it doesn't. But we don't know the answer for that one, unfortunately.
I think it's to do with the fact that it isn't registered by the game. That the punctures do not register on the leaderboards on the multiplayer session, for example. But it could be a cool feature to implement in the future, perhaps. I'm sure that as per everybody, like in Formula 1 and all of that, and many other racing series, the more data you have, the more intriguing it is to have a look at what other people have done. But most definitely, you can see mainly when people have got a puncture by the 1 minute and 30-second penalty that they have from repairing it most of the time.
Hopefully that answers your question there, of course, as we got some short stages coming up in quick succession. Don't forget Dark Viper was carrying quite a lot of punches a moment ago as well, but I believe it's going to be a lot easier for him now as he heads towards the end of the event. As I believe Kamikaze's just paused there. But I think he's going to keep going like, in a bit as well.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just starting. He's all good.
You can see the timing being there.
Yeah. Flembar has just finished stage 6, I believe, as well.
Interesting comment here that I'm seeing on the Twitch chat here, that the ground is darker compared to Sweden. That is quite correct. It's more of a gravel base that's formed into like an ice block underneath a layer of snow, and then when they've cleared the snow for the stage in real life, that they go almost down to the gravel, but they leave a bit of ice there, and that's what the studs grip into. But quite correctly, Sweden is a lot more snow. In real life they should be about the same, but in this rally you get a lot more gravel, and the car is a bit more slidey than it is in Sweden, at least according to me, and that just reflects the different surfaces. And I'm just mesmerized by these two driving here, Vlembar and Kamikaze, just absolutely flat out, both of them. Just, you could not think of gaining any more time through these stages. And I just want to point out as well, overall, the battle is on between the two. Kamikaze leading after stage 6, with Vlembar 6.8 seconds behind, according to RaceNet. And Gresh is 12 seconds behind. So all three of those could be in for a win here if the others make mistakes. And to put into perspective how close it is, one spin can cost you maybe 6, 7, 8 seconds. So the most minor of mistakes, or even engine damage like Kamikaze had in the first couple of stages, can cost you an overall win here.
Yeah, and points mean anything, both in the race net standings and also the creators standings as well. We've got, I think, 2 drivers that want to be top in everything, but you want to beat your rivals. And I know these 2 are rivals, but they're good friends on and off the track as well.
Off the road.
Blondie's off the road, and she's reset the track. 10 seconds.
That's fine.
She's only got 10 seconds. That's not bad.
I think what's happened there is you might have hooked 2 wheels on the inside of the last corner and then just got stuck on top of the snowbank, and the cars just drifted off the road there. Incredibly frustrating when that happens because you have no more steering or anything. You can't really do anything about it. And she's managed to Austin Powers it on between the snowbank and the barrier there, sadly. So that might be another reset. The correct decision, I think, to make 5 seconds. You'd lose a lot more if you're trying to recover it. But again, just emphasizing how small mistakes can just have the most dramatic consequences.
Yeah, I think for some situations, obviously in some games, reset to track isn't allowed, but here as well, it could gain you time if you reset the track rather than lose time if you just try and get the car planted in the right place as well, because it depends where you are on the track as well. If you gain a lot of time when you reset the track, you're probably going to get a bigger penalty, but again, we'll obviously have to wait and see. But at least Blondie is still going. Every one of our creators is still going as well. And fair play to Trev in the YouTube chat, by the way, for doing some of the rallies in WRC with a puncher and beating some people online with a puncher. So fair play. I don't think I would have done that, but it just goes to show you do not give up in these type of rally situations, even if you do have a puncher. Because I used to in the older games, when I have a puncher, I'm just like, yeah, that's it, I'm gonna retire. But you never know what could happen, because there could be other people that could give up before you, or even have terminal damage. Because if you have terminal damage, then that's pretty much it. We're running on board with Kamikaze now, and how fast he's taken it is remarkable. It's going to take some miracle for a lot of people to beat him. But I wonder if any of you guys in the chat on Twitch or YouTube could maybe possibly have a chance to beat him. But it's gonna be difficult to say the least as well. Flembar as well is doing pretty decent again, but I think I can't call it between these two. These two are driving remarkable in this penultimate stage, which should last around about 5 minutes, I believe, according to Race Net. Let me check. Stage 7. 5 minutes 26 is the time to be in the stage set by BVR Quentin in the Opel Corsa, which is what Kamikaze and Flembar are racing at right now. We do know that Flembar is almost halfway. Yeah,
according to my calculations here, because I'm watching both points of view here, compared to where they are on the stages, I think Vlembar is a couple of seconds ahead on this stage, but it's nothing. The difference is minimal. It's like a slight lift on a corner or a slight clip of a snowbank at this point. And this is one of the fastest stages of this rally as well. So this is the one where, in theory, it's more difficult to gain time in. So just proves how fast they are pushing. And to go back on a point that you were making earlier, Jess, my dad always used to say to me when I was doing some competitions, it would be never underestimate the ability of other people to make bigger mistakes than you. And I think that applies so much in this rally. It's ridiculous.
I think
was Kamikaze just on the snowbank there. That could have gone so much worse. You can get drawn into the snowbank just catching a bodywork there. And yeah, he just managed to get away with it.
That was so close, and that could have been race ending if he was not careful. But sometimes you got to really go at the limit sometimes too. So
5:32. Let's have a look at Vlembar's time. 5:30. Whoa, hang on a second.
Hang on a minute.
That is, by my calculations, that is 7 seconds faster. I think he might have just taken the lead.
What was it? A 5. Hold on, I need to get the right screen up.
Vlembar.
1 second.
Yeah, Kamikaze has made a mistake. Kamikaze has made a mistake in that stage somewhere. We have not seen it, but he's 8 seconds off on that stage. And so that means that overall, Vlembar takes the lead by 1.9 seconds.
Wow.
Incredible. The
And he
last
said it would be
stage, which is
close.
13 kilometers, 14 kilometers really, Tovsli, the last stage will be the deciding factor, not only of the power stage, but of the overall results of the rally. And I think Kamikaze a little bit frustrated there. He looks like he's made a very small mistake, and that's the most expression I've seen on his face the entire rally, just the shock of the time that's just happened. So
And if it gets
I'm
possible,
sure
though, he's got to
Yeah,
have
of
a
course.
really fast final stage in order to beat Vlembar. But it just shows how equal on pace these two are without mistakes. It's just incredible between these two. We'll keep an eye on them as it continues, of course. So best of luck to both for them. You just about saw a replay of Vlembar as well. That was very, very good from him as well. And we've just got Viper and Blondie, I believe, about to start, I believe, the final stage, which you'll get power points for as well. I'm just trying to see, has Dirk finished?
I think Dirk has finished. I'm just looking for his overall time here. He's a bit
70th.
pressed for time today. 70th, is it? Overall.
Hey,
Incredible.
So
That
thanks,
is...
yeah, that. So thank you to Dirk Stream for tuning for rating us, and it seems to me with Dirk being 70th, that was a very decent time from him as well. It looked like he was enjoying that stage. So very, very impressive from him. I think he should be proud of that as well. Only 5 seconds worth of penalties. So, as he was saying earlier, he's getting used to the rally situation, and I can't wait to see what he could do potentially in Portugal next week. But we've got to wait to see how the other creators do overall as they start the final stage with Punju up first as he just hits the barrier again.
Yeah, I'm going back to Dirk for a second. It's been incredible to see his sort of performance improvement on rally. He says he's getting used to it. I think that's a bit of an understatement. The times that he's been setting have been absolutely incredible by everybody's benchmarks. To end up 65th overall on such a difficult rally after having to speedrun it as well is beyond impressive, that's for sure. So absolute just props to his driving and determination in this rally. That's for sure. But I think that can apply also to a lot of the drivers here that have had punctures, made mistakes and all of that. It takes a special type of courage to just continue to have that mental reset and just go at it again.
Yeah, and sometimes, like I was saying earlier, it's best to have that mental reset. If you had a trouble in one stage, just forget it and focus on the next one. That's what a lot of these creators have been doing so far, as Dark Viper and Blondie has just started the final stage too. Blondie doing absolutely fantastic. I didn't quite catch what Viper's time is overall, so if anyone knows from his chat, that will be lovely, so we can get a bit of a gauge of what he could expect from these two going forward. Viper is another creator as well that I feel like's improved from stages gone by. He did really well last week, and just to see the reaction just by finishing a stage last week it means the world to him. Honestly, sometimes think, oh, it's no big deal, but if you struggle to finish an event, and then when you finish one the week later, it's always a very special achievement. But here's the battle, John, we've all been waiting for. Vlembar versus Kamikaze. They just about to start the final stage.
Yeah, here we go. Both of them on stage now, and this is the battle that we are looking at especially. It's a battle for overall victory. They have absolutely blitzed the entire competition here. They're the only two drivers to remain on lead pace, really. I think third place is now more than a minute behind them after Gresh had an unfortunate technical problem in one of the stages, which meant that he did not set a time. Looking at RaceNet, it was stage 7, the previous stage, where the time wasn't able to be registered for some reason.
Oh, right, okay. But he did struggle in stage 4 as well, we said.
He did. He did indeed. He dropped slightly off the lead pace to the gap of 12 seconds last time I checked it, but they were all three within, in with a shot of winning. But these two have been the class act of the rally so far. Grace showing the consistency, these two showing the outright speed. Both of them making mistakes at some points, though. So this last stage where they've got to put everything on the line, and obviously because they're both driving in our Creators Championship as well, they're going head-to-head for points on both championships, the overall and the Creator Series standings.
Which is looking quite close between the two of them as well. So watch out for these two in both standings, because I mean, you want to do the double. You definitely want to do the double. 8 minutes 17, by the way, is the time to beat if you want to win the overall stage 8. So good luck to these two. It's going to be a tough call, but I'm almost certain that at least one potentially could do it as well. It's a shame that Gretsch had that technical issue, because he would have been up there as well. Rhodey's had a good stage as well, second. I'm just trying to see where Monkey Matt finished in
just
stage 8.
clipping the barrier a little bit. It looks like
I just saw that.
Kamikaze looks that much more confident in what he's doing, and just that much more calm about it, whereas Vlembar's driving style, not just on this rally but on other rallies, and this isn't a criticism, this is just a comparison of driving styles at this point, because both of them are incredibly quick. He just seems more on the limit and sort of chucking the car into the corners, forcing the car to do what he wants it to do. And Kamikaze has that sort of working with the car style. It'll be very, very interesting to see which one of those styles will work better in this last stage. Again, a very, very tricky but also fast stage, as we can see from especially Kamikaze's perspective. That bumper cam giving a real impression of the absolute just pace that these drivers are showing.
Yeah, and the amount of practice they put in as well, and the car choice, because I don't... The person who has gone fastest in a different car is Snakey in the Fiat Grande Punto, in 6th place in this stage, and he was 5th overall in terms of that. And then the fastest Peugeot is Nicholas Hansen in P7.
Riff Blondie's had a huge mistake there, just rolling onto a roof.
Oh, that was one of our biggest mistakes.
Like a lot of damage there. That was a very high-speed incident, sadly, for them.
If I was there, I would reset. You're going to lose so much more time if you don't reset.
I'm not sure she can reset. I don't think she can, because you just press pause and it's retire from the day. So let's see.
Oh, there we go. He's going. She's going. She's all good.
I think for some reason the game registered that the car was still moving, so you cannot reset to track, which is slightly unfortunate. But
that is a bit unfair sometimes. But it is true. There's no point resetting if your car's moving, so she'll probably have to stop. But she was trying. The car was rolling, so she could not stop. So that was potentially
the car was rolling
why.
in more ways than one, sadly. But yeah, it's very, very tricky. And she said she was pushing flat out. So you have to give sort of props to that as well. You know, she knew the risks, and Dark Viper falling foul to that as well. I think in the exact same part of the track, to be fair, just clipping the snowbank. Yeah, just clipped the snowbank and it just flipped him onto his roof, and he was a passenger. And a puncture there as well. Incredible. I can't believe the bad luck in this last stage. I think the only two people that haven't fallen foul to something, as Punju is also having problems in this stage right towards the end of it, just clipping a rock on the last stage on the last corner. Sorry,
that would have been a really fast time without that mistake from Punju.
He managed to recover
impressive.
it. He's lost about 5 to 10 seconds there. It was a pretty big stop, but he's just carrying on to the end of the stage here. Meanwhile, our two front runners are still neck and neck. I'd say there's not more than a couple of seconds. Punju.
That was tight from Punju. He's full sending it. He's definitely full sending it. I think if he wants to get into the top 20, he's got to aim to be in the 843s, which I don't think he's going to do. He's got a few more corners to go. Can he do it? No, he's not going to be in the top 20. He's nice flick
Not
there
quite.
from PEGI. 8:45, I think I saw. So where would that put him? That would put him.
We have Dark Viper with his Australian camera there, as usual.
Yeah. It keeps going like, it keeps going upside down and then the right way round again. 27th for PEGI. No, 23rd.
23rd.
That's it. 23rd. That's good.
That's not a bad time, to be honest, with all of the problems that he had during that stage. Again, he set some very, very fast stage times, and I think there's a lot of positivity to come from that. Obviously, on a different computer as well, so maybe a few settings to optimize there. The driving might feel a little bit different. Who knows?
I'm just trying to find where he finished overall as well, but whilst you do that, there's the two protagonists for the overall win.
And as we can see, they're just flat out. I noticed a few mistakes from both of them. They both clipped the bank multiple times, losing maybe a second each time, but it's ever so close. Kamikaze on the bank there. It's so close that slowdown there of getting stuck in the deep snow might just be enough. Who knows? It's going to be... There's only 6 seconds between them overall, so those couple of mistakes might make the entire difference here. I'd say... It's very difficult to tell, but I'd say advantage Kamikaze in this stage. I'm not quite sure, though. It's going to be so close. And as you can see, the light fading away towards the end of the stage as well.
Well, you can see side by side as well. They're all so close. It could go either way between into the podium.
Kamikaze! He's into the snowbank. Oh, incredible! Just pitched up onto 2 wheels. And he just managed to save it, but he also got drawn into the next snowbank as well. So that might be it. That might be enough to hand Flembar the win. We're going to have to wait and see.
Both had 6:56 at the split we just had, which was massive. But I wonder if that mistake might cost you Kamikaze, but...
Cross the line.
So
switch to Flembar.
So
I didn't see his final time.
8:13, so that would have put him overall win.
I did not do super great.
But
so
he
needs 8:07. Flembar needs 8:07. He's not done it. Kamikaze has won this, but Flembar takes the power stage. According to my calculations, Kamikaze has won this by...
It was 2 seconds before the last stage.
He's beaten Grace on the stage. Let's have a look. We're checking times frantically here.
8:11. Oh, so close. 2 seconds separating them two in the final stage.
Oh, no. Flembar has taken it. Flembar has taken it. The maths, obviously, not my strong point, apparently.
Flembar was leading going into the final stage.
I honestly thought that Kamikaze had done enough there. Obviously, looking at the wrong split somewhere there, but it just proves how close they were that I couldn't tell which one was in the lead at that stage. I think for Kamikaze, those few mistakes there towards the end of the stage, just catching him out.
I would like to get them both in at some point. Yeah, why not? Let's get both Kamikaze and Flembar in. There we go.
What a grandstand finish to this event. What an amazing drive from both of you. Unfortunately, there was always going to be one winner and one runner-up. But I don't think that takes anything away from the performance that you've both done today. Flembar, first to you. How does it feel after all of that? Less than 5 seconds separate both of you after 50 minutes of driving.
I'm more than exhausted. This was... I know I said I didn't want to push too hard, but...
You did?
I could stick with him. Yeah, I could stick with him, and I had to try it, so...
Yeah, the driving looked absolutely flat out. Your aggressiveness on that last stage, especially, was really telling. A few moments with the snowbanks for both of you, I must say. But that's what happens when you push the limit. And I guess on this one, you had to push because you knew you wanted to keep that gap and to make sure that you get those all crucial points and obviously the satisfaction of the overall win with that.
Oh yeah, like I said, I'm definitely happy after that exhausting rally. But I still have to say big shout out to Kamikaze. I mean, less than 5 seconds only behind me, so he for sure pushed at least the same as I did. So I'm surely gonna be very happy to rewatch that and see how close it was through the stages.
So to Kamikaze now as well, I will ask the question, where do you think it went wrong? I'm sorry I have to ask the question, but...
Oh, the last stage. I lost 8 seconds, I don't know how. So, but my hats off to Lambert. He's done an amazing job. We had a great time through the whole rally. We sitting in the chat together and talk after each stage. So, well done, Lambert. Congratulations. All deserved.
Well done to you as well, man.
It's great to see the sportsmanship between both of you. Honestly, I've seen so many competitions where everybody's sort of unhappy towards the end of it, but the amount of commitment, I think, has brought everybody together in this rally, I think, because just the amount of difficulty and just getting to the end of the rally has been a challenge for most drivers here. So I think all of the effort has to be recognized here from everybody. But I must say, it was absolutely mesmerizing watching the level of pace, the level of commitment, and I can honestly say I'd love for a cheat sheet on how you do it. A step-by-step explanation. I need to know.
I think I gave you the setup earlier today, so you're welcome.
Oh,
It's all set up, is it? Interesting. You know, it's very, very few occasions where a driver says it's the setup that got them a good result. But interesting with that one.
That is
for
true
sure.
though with any sport. That is true though with any sport. Sometimes setup can make all the difference.
Indeed, especially on such a tricky rally. But I'm sure the battle will rage on into the next events. The championship still wide open in both the overall and indeed the Creator Series standings. Kamikaze, a bit of room to work your way up there in the Creator Series, but with that haul of points, it's looking very good for you as well. And Vlembar, well, need I say any more? You know, maximum points haul. For the moment, it's looking fine for you at the top, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment it's looking very good. But next rally, I'm not too confident. Portugal is not my best, and the class also isn't my very best. So I'm surely gonna have some fun there, but I don't think I'm gonna be as quick there as you.
The champions always playing down their chances, as they say. It's always the rally where they say, I'm not going to do very well, that they do their best. So, Kamikaze, what's your thoughts on the next event?
Yeah, I don't know. We will see what you're gonna do on this one first before we make any strategies. So yeah, you need you must have good luck, and I will watch your stream earlier today, later, what you call it.
Interesting. They don't want to count their chances until a certain washed esports driver has gone through the stages. You know, that's interesting, to be honest. They have a lot more faith in me, I will say to our audience. Their faith in me is very well ill-founded, so they'll find out soon enough about my performance for sure. But I just want to say, as a closing thought, unless you have anything to add, Jess, that your performances have both been just amazing, and I think there's a lot of credit that you can take. Yeah,
I could definitely echo that. I think I was just mesmerized when I was watching your stages throughout this event. I think even when I was commentating on it, it's just how fast you both were and how confident you both were. It's just it's always nice to have you here with us on the Monday night, and long may it continue going into next week. Best of luck in the championship going forward. I can't wait to see more of your rallies going forward as well. So well done.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you.
We need to mention Aerotech as well. P27.
Oh yes.
So far is
indeed.
So we need to think about all the creators who have done very good today. So kudos to all of them.
Indeed, there's There's been some amazing drives and amazing persistence as well from some of our drivers who we'll be able to interview afterwards, where they've had problems, punctures and stuff like that, but they've kept smashing in those times. Indeed, and they've set some very good times. And indeed to Aerotech as well, who sadly couldn't join us tonight, but just mesmerizing pace, as you guys said.
Thank you.
So we are going to be having our next creator in with us, and it's going to be, I believe, it's going to be Dark Viper that's joining. So I don't think we've both spoken to him today, so it's always good to have him. And hello there. But first of all, how do you think tonight went for you?
It was. I honestly should have kept my mum in the seat. If I'm going to be honest. I think I was upside down more than I was right side up. The amount of barrel rolls I did, the trees, everything. Like, should have just kept her in the car. Oh.
Yeah,
I have the question to ask. How are you keeping in the seat right now? Because you are upside down in anti-gravitational forces at the moment, according to our cameras here. So I tell you what, that's the most impressive thing I've seen.
Yeah.
5-point harness.
Sounds
good.
Blame it on the crashes again, you know? I was getting confused with the whole upside down thing, you know?
Indeed, and there we go. We have flipped the camera and indeed the name.
Oh yeah,
we flipped. We
flipped the name as well. I've got a question to ask, because it was nice to get your mum involved in this rally as well. How long did it take for her to learn to adapt to the rally situation? Because it's difficult, especially on a stage that she did like that. How much did you have to teach her to get onto the pace that she did? Because it was a good stage for her, I think.
So last time she touched the game was F123, like last year, and she's not touched anything since. And then like half an hour before today, I made her do 2 runs on the stage. So I'm really impressed she did that well. Even in practice, she only crashed once and absolutely flew off the track.
Better than me.
The 1v1's coming. But like, she honestly didn't practice that much. Maybe she's got potential. She's a natural, as chat was saying.
It looked very smooth. It looked fast as well. Driving over, according to the stage time anyway, over half the speed of a seasoned rally driver. So that is very impressive for a first attempt at the rally game, I must admit. And I must admit, as also your driving as well today, although there were problems, yes, although there were punctures, you set some awesome fast stage times as well when you had the opportunity. So you must feel quite good about that, regardless of the result.
Yeah, the result doesn't matter to me anyways. I was just here for fun, and it was really nice to drive with my mum, so I want to thank her.
I could tell you were enjoying it as well, enjoying watching her as she was driving as well. And has she been a fan of motorsport for very long, or did you get the interest from her, or was it the other way around? She was interested in it because you were interested in it.
I force her to watch the Formula One every weekend, so she's kind
of right. So it was
interested. You. Yeah. You know, and I just want to say she didn't hit any curves, which she usually does in real life. So that's impressive.
Oh.
I'm happy she's not in the room right now.
Yeah, just nobody watch this replay. No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll gloss over that.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Okay.
Yeah. Suddenly, 10 seconds of footage from the recording has been lost. I have no idea why, but there you go.
I don't know why
what a shame.
Yeah, it's crazy. What happened? Right. Thank you, guys.
But yeah, and just incredible to see your level of persistence and just the energy that you showed even after the mistakes. I know that sometimes it can get very frustrating. So honestly, the fact that you showed such good character in terms of just resetting after a mistake and just pushing on to the next one, that's quality act, I must say.
Thank you, guys. It's more fun driving with 3 wheels anyways. I think the other guys should give it a go.
Very nice.
So Robin reliant for the next rally, right? Got it, understood.
I keep that more upright.
Fair enough.
You guys have a good night.
Well, need I say any more? Yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us in the interview and and he's gone already. But I just want to say a massive thank you to him for just the level of entertainment he's showed. Much obliged, as I say. Right, who's next in the
Blondie.
interview booth? Let's Riff Blondie.
Oh,
Yes.
hello.
Hello. Well, an eventful rally, it must be said. But honestly, if in doubt, go flat out seems to work for you. To be honest, how do you feel about it?
I feel like the last stage has drained all my powers, and I also had an incident on the track. On the stage, I've hurt my wrist. I don't know how.
No.
I've hurt my wrist, and I was just like, well, I gotta keep driving, but I can't properly keep the wheel on my hands. But I made it through, so I'm proud of that.
Never nice to hear about any real life injuries. Obviously, that's not the objective of a simulator or a game. But
well,
I mean,
nothing some eyes overnight can't fix, so it's fine.
As long as it's not too big an injury, I'm sure it's acceptable for the enjoyment. But up until that point, rallying is dangerous, whether it's real life or simulator, apparently.
True.
But yeah, I think honestly, you had the sort of real old school rally drive sort of style around your driving of just the, as you said, the flat outness, but also just in terms of technique, you looked to be very much on the limit all the time, and you must have been having a lot of fun, obviously, up until the last stage.
I did. I even had fun in the last stage. I just was mad for making too many mistakes, which I knew I could have avoided. So it was indeed a very, very fun one. Much funnier than the last ones, because I was just focusing on, going fast and not really trying to avoid messing up the car. If it worked, then it worked.
Yeah, sometimes you can do more damage by being cautious than you can by just going flat out. So I think it definitely worked for you. What about next week then? We've got Portugal in the rear-wheel drive, I think H3 class, which is quite high-powered cars. What do you think about that one?
I have to be honest. I don't know if I tried those cars. I think I tried Portugal, but I don't know about the cars, and I am excited to see how these feel. I am excited for gravel, though. I love driving on gravel.
I think most of our drivers do. Sideways action is always good.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know, my piece of cake. I just love that.
Yeah, well, definitely it's going to be more of the looking over crests and trying to spot where the track goes in Portugal. But most definitely, I think it's going to be another case of, if in doubt, go flat out, because we have Colin McRae's Mark II Escort in the car choices for next week. So maybe you'll be taking that one and showing us how it's done.
Can't wait to try it out, see what it can do.
Over to you, Jess. Maybe you have some other questions.
Nope, you nicked all my questions again, John. But it was good to see you again, Blondie, racing in the rallies, and hope to see you next week. You did very well today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be around here and to talk to you guys.
Oh,
the pleasure's all ours.
Thank you. And I do believe, do we have time for one more, potentially? Could we have maybe...
Got to have Punju in. Yeah, it looks like
he's here. Yeah, we got to have Punju. Yeah, we got to have Punju.
Hi.
Hello.
Caught me red-handed, already sweating next week. I'm so mad about today.
A lot of drivers tend to do that.
Dude, man, just... grr is how I feel. But it was fun. It was fun. It was fun.
Look at that. He's sweating. He's sweating.
Oh, he's in the BMW as well. Interesting.
I am in the BMW. Wait, are you guys looking for me to go race? To turn back on?
Yeah, go on.
Little preview for next week. I mean, this is what we're doing next week. It's the H3 rear-wheel drive. I told everybody that's in the VC, I said, we have to boycott the Escort because it's the fast car.
Oh, look at that.
It'd be way more fun
that's-
if like, nobody used the fast car. And we
Yeah.
all had to use something else.
Yeah, it's definitely a car that's obviously the fastest in the class, but the classic cars have all of the soul with them. The classic drifting, the caution on power, and the tricky
sounds.
braking zones from tarmac to gravel here. What? Oh, look at
That
that.
one?
He's showing off now.
I love that one. Well, that's like, so it's
I
my
have
first
high
clip.
expectations now next week, Eli.
I will. So this stage, like, whoop. Yeah, I've been like ripping this one. I'm not even joking.
All right.
So my first stage that I ever played on this game that I ended up uploading to a TikTok was this stage, going backwards right there. I nailed like a perfect 360, and I thought I was a god. I was like, oh yeah, let me put this one on TikTok, right? And then it turns out I do like every freaking stage now because I spin so much.
You do know you're giving the people in the chat ideas of what card to go in for next week.
BMW. If you don't use the Beamer, you're lame.
I think that's called favoritism, or trying to get people to choose a car against their own will, Mr. Punju.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm gonna use the Beamer. I'm actually gonna use this car. So
You look comfortable with that car as well. And I
It's
just
like
and I
yeah, it's the one that I can like actually make it to the end with. So that's why I'm gonna use it.
oh,
Fair point.
That's all it's about. But we're not here at Portugal yet. We're still finishing. Where were we? Scandia.
but at least it gave us a taste of what to expect next week. As
Yeah,
well.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun next week. I'm excited. But
Um,
obviously, you know, at the end of a race like this, I'm just like so jazzed. Like, do I need to go faster? Like, I need to make up for this season. It's been like nothing but bad results. So I
But
had to
yeah,
go
having some fun. Yeah, having some fun.
Yeah.
How was the radiator damage throughout the towards the end of the run you did?
Surprisingly enough, it really wasn't that bad. Like I thought, because of the end of stage 7, where I nailed the pole after the finish line, I was like, oh man, that's gonna ruin me. But it actually like wasn't bad. I was fast. I ended up getting like, I think I top 20 on the final stage almost. I was fast.
You did look fast. I think
I
it was one way you could have been leading the entire stage if you didn't get that penalty. I can't remember which stage it was.
Yeah, it was the final stage was definitely the best one for sure. It was a little unfortunate, you know, that like all the pace came out like then, you know, not early. But it was for power stage points, so maybe I salvage a point or two. I don't even think I've gotten like a single power stage point this whole season. So like, it's a stark difference from last season. So I'm hoping that I salvaged one or two, and then we move on to the next one. Who knows? But yeah, overall it was a really fun day today. Today was good.
26th in stage 8 on RaceNet, but I don't know what that does in relation to the creators. It depends on if any creators that haven't raced tonight still got some more stages still to do. So you're not out of the woods yet.
Third place at the moment.
Yeah,
Third place on
yeah.
the power stage in the creator
It's
series.
It's 4th place once you go. So I'll take it.
I wouldn't be so sure. The fact that you think I'll make it to stage 8 is quite perplexing to me. So, you know.
I mean, the only way that you don't make it to stage 8 is if you DNF on stage 7, because remember, you can DNF to the next service. And if you DNF on stage 7, that's a miracle, because that is hard to DNF stage. That is not that bad. So,
observe and watch
give me
me.
hope. Yeah, I would like that hope. That'd be great. Thank you. But I doubt it. Oh well, such is life.
Your wish is my command.
Perfect. Good. Yeah, thanks guys for you know, as always, for all the great comments too. Like this has been so fun. This season's been great, and I'm really excited for this next week's run. Like Isaac, you know about the corner cuts at this track where you jump over cliffs and like you land back on the track. So.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Sometimes. Other times you land into a pile of rocks and then it's not so great all of a sudden.
Just don't miss. It's simple as that. Just don't miss.
Just don't crash. I mean, you know, that's advice that I could give to drivers at the end of every interview, but, you know, that would be going against my own concept of being a rally driver. So, you know, I can't do that.
That's fair. Yeah. But yeah, really fun. Really good fun today. Really fun.
It's been absolutely amazing to watch just your level of commitment and undying willpower to get to the end of each stage, even with the difficulties. And that's the true spirit of rally, is keep keeping on going, even with all of the problems and all of that, and never giving up. And I think you and some of the other drivers that we've had on today have perfectly demonstrated that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, no give up in me, man. I'm just going to keep on chugging along.
And chugging along at a fast pace, he shall do. Many, many thanks once again. And we'll see you next week.
Adios.
Yep, he's gone already. There we go. So that is the end then of this beautiful event for round number 5. We'll head to round 6 next week. It was astonishing from start to finish. I really enjoyed it again in the snow as well. What's more to love?
Yeah, honestly, I knew this one was going to be one of two things: fast-paced, close stage times, or masses of crashes. And unfortunately for some drivers, we got both. But in terms of entertainment, in terms of just demonstrating what rally is, this event probably demonstrated it better than any of the rest. You had some flat-out stuff that I can't even begin to describe from both Kamikaze, Vlembar, and so many other people that I can see on the leaderboards, which we have not been able to see the footage from. But just absolutely crazy pace from some people. And as I've mentioned previously, crazy commitment from other people to get to the end no matter what. And an old school rally, I must say, this one, both in terms of car choice, but also in terms of the stages, a lot more closed, compact, and difficult to get through. Going to Portugal next week, which is much of the same. Some quite narrow roads and lots of rocks and obstacles. No snow. Hopefully not anyway, otherwise Climax has had a bit of a problem.
Yeah, climate change.
Once again. Yeah. But you know, with the rear-wheel drive cars, it's going to be a challenge for some, and there are other specialists as well that will be absolutely jumping for joy that they can take such tricky cars throughout Portugal. So next week might indeed be some more chaos like we've had this week.
Yes, and if you want to find out how our creators do, you can watch us same time on the EA Sports WRC YouTube channel and right here on the Creator Series Twitch channel at 7:30 p.m. UK time. Make sure you subscribe to us on, follow us on Twitch and subscribe to EA Sports WRC on YouTube. And if you haven't followed us on YouTube, make sure you do so. We are at Creator Series. We also don't just do WRC, we do F1 on Friday night with the F2 cars. I can't remember on the life of me what track it is. Oh, it's Spain. There we go. It's Spain, I should know, because that is where the real life drivers are racing at this week. Yeah, and then we've got the F1s on Saturday, and then we're back with us on Monday at 7:30. I don't know whether I'm going to be here or not, but there we go. You can also follow us on socials. I'm at JessGave95 everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. I'm the same everywhere as well. John, where we can find you, my good sir?
It's amusing. The name is down below right there. And that's the same on every social media platform. If you want to see content of crashing, oh yeah, more crashing, that's where to find it generally.
And also massive shout out to Gav, our producer behind the scenes, for keeping us on the straight and narrow as well. Brilliant job from him as well. You can follow him on the socials as well. Do !comms. His link is there, and his link tree is in there as well. So make sure you check him out as well. Without him, there wouldn't be a stream today. So without further ado, we're going to wrap things up. Make sure you follow us on X as well at Creator Series to let us know when we're going to go live. But for myself and John, we will see you same time next week for some Portugal action in the RWD cars. Until then, take care, stay safe, and good night, everyone.